The Humanity Party's economic plan to end worldwide poverty incorporates the best parts of capitalism and the free market system with the best parts of socialism. One of the first questions asked in considering our plan is, who's going to pay for it? Or where's the money going to come from? To explain this important part and provide a clear answer to this question, we would like to introduce one of our members of the Board of Directors. Christopher will now explain how our plan will work, and most importantly, how it will be funded without raising taxes or placing the financial burden on any group of people.
A brief explanation of the Humanity Party's economic proposals. The Humanity Party wants to introduce some progressive concepts and present what needs to happen to end poverty in this world. The whole purpose of our platform, and my role today as a representative of its board of directors, is to explain the solutions. The Humanity Party has the answers. We have the common sense solutions to end worldwide poverty. Our plan is not to give the people money, but to provide them with the basic necessities of life so they don't have to worry about living. To be able to live and pursue happiness, one shouldn't have to worry about a good, safe place to live, good, healthy food to eat, a good education if one wants it, or good health care. True liberty demands that a person should not have to worry about the basic necessities of life. The things that you hear from the pundits and from other politicians are not solutions. They don't know what the solution to poverty is, because they haven't dedicated their lives to solving the problem. These who think they're the wise ones don't have a clue how to solve the problem of unemployment, for example. They seem to have no clue what is behind the lack of good jobs. We are not going to solve the problem of unemployment until we realize one thing. Technology is the culprit responsible for eliminating jobs. Technological advancements are replacing human workers throughout the world. For a company to remain profitable, technology is more important than human labor. Technology is much more efficient. It does a better job. It takes less energy. It doesn't call in sick. It doesn't have emotional problems. There's no way that the successful 1% is going to get rid of technology. As a consequence, there are all these human beings running around without a job. Some reformists and politicians will correctly state, in their opinion, well, we want to change the unemployment problem, but not by taxing the rich. Because if you let the rich keep their money, the argument is that they will reinvest it into businesses, thereby creating more jobs. Some are deceived into thinking this way, that if you put wealth in the hands of the 1%, they'll turn around and create jobs for the 99. The claim that reducing taxes on the rich and on businesses so that they can hire people has never worked. It's never happened. It's not going to happen, because wealth is created from retaining your profits, not from reinvesting them. Here's what's happening with the world's economy, something that most people can't figure out on their own. Let's say, for example, that there exists an American company called Acme Widgets. This company is going to produce widgets and then sell them to the public for a profit. And the widget can represent almost any product or service. It's no secret that Acme Widget can produce the widget outside of the United States for a lot less money. China, for example, is the manufacturing hub of the world. The United States, on the other hand, is the consumer hub of the world. To manufacture any product, you need raw materials. You have to get these raw materials from somewhere, and to make the best profit, you will get these materials as cheaply as you can from any country that sells them the cheapest. Acme Widget Company, as well as any other for-profit company found throughout the world, knows that it is going to find the cheapest resources and materials to make their widgets from the poorest countries that pay the least to the laborers who take the raw materials from the earth. Manufacturing is hardly done in the United States anymore. Companies simply can't make the profit that they want to make and still sell their products for a low price. It's very hard to manufacture anything in the United States because people demand higher wages to produce those things, much higher than people in other countries, especially in China, where many products are manufactured more inexpensively than anywhere else in the world. And now with the advent of international trade laws and treaties and the way that products are shipped via ships over the sea or by airplane, it's very easy and cost-effective for a company to have China be the manufacturer of their products. So what do Americans do about a job? The American economy is now principally based on retailing or warehousing and selling the product. Retailers buy a product that might cost $1, let's say, and then they increase the price to $2, $3, or whatever they can sell it for in the current market. The new jobs that are created in the United States are created from and based on consumerism. The more that people buy, the more jobs that are created. Let's analyze the types of jobs that are created from the U.S. economy. These jobs are limited to the retail side, which is simply taking a product that's already made in China more cheaply than it is in the U.S., and selling it for a profit. Let me give you a scenario of how this works. The government wants to create lots of jobs, so it lends me $1 billion to create a business. I create a business that puts lamps together, Christopher Lamps, Incorporated. I start advertising to hire people. I need people. I'm going to need 1,000 people to put together my lamps. I'm going to pay each one of them $10 an hour. That's a good wage. For standing there on an assembly line, putting one part on the lamp, passing it to another person, having that person put a part on it at least 8 hours of every single day. What kind of job is that? Yet, if I did that, and I created Christopher Lamps and all those jobs, I'd be seen as an American hero. I'd be a hero to the corporate world. They'd say, look how many jobs this rich guy is creating because he has a lamp company and he's investing in our community. He's creating all these jobs for all these people. Really? These are the types of jobs that people want? People don't want these types of jobs. And the fact is, the majority of the people in the world do not like the job that they are forced to accept. So what does the business owner think about all this? He thinks, okay, I don't need people who can't stand their job. I'm going to get a robot, a computer, or some other type of technology to work for me for a lot less money than what these people work for and a lot less headaches. And so now there's all these unemployed humans. The job market has been dehumanized by technology to such an extent that there are not enough good jobs anymore. We need to put more emphasis on solving poverty than we do on warfare. As concerned humans, we simply have to decide that this is what we want to do. We've put men on the moon and explored space to the tune of billions and billions of dollars. But for what? So that we can agree that we don't know much about space? But how much investment and research do we put into solving the issue of poverty? Can you imagine how it would be if the same human talents and resources were used to solve poverty that are used to explore space? But space exploration is not the biggest human expenditure and waste. War is. More money is made by those who finance, develop, and research how to kill people than any other human pursuit upon this earth. So what would happen if we took the same amount of time and money used to fight war and put it to use in fighting poverty? And this is how we can do it. Big government contracts are made every day with corporations who do research and development to expand the military's capability to win a war. Weapons contracts are more lucrative than any other. What if the government told the corporations that it is going to pay out some big money to those who can solve the food crisis throughout the world? It is announced that there will be lucrative government contracts available for anyone who can grow and provide wholesome, healthy food for the world. We will pay these corporations for producing it. We have changed the motivation of greed from war manufacturing to food production because that's where the most lucrative government contracts are. These lucrative government contracts will motivate businesses and the people who want to become wealthy from owning a company, because greed and material wealth is human nature, and most are driven towards this, and we cannot change this part of a free will society. Therefore, we must learn to utilize human nature without threatening it. It's very simple to understand the basic premise of the Humanity Party's plan. Its plan is to change the mindset of the people who own the corporations of the world, to inspire them to beat their swords into plowshares and change the way that they are motivated to make their money. However, the idea of replacing military strength with social welfare strength, although preferred, does not seem realistic in today's world. The Humanity Party's plan uses the idea of beating swords into plowshares theoretically. We are attempting to represent how the governments of the world spend money on the things that take human life without benefiting the purpose for human life, that is, the pursuit of happiness. In today's world, because human nature is what it is, a proud sovereign nation, even a competing corporation, cannot be trusted to agree to or support a concept that benefits all nations and people equally. Therefore, there exists the necessity of a strong and well-regulated security force, stronger than any other in the world, to equally protect worldwide human interests. The Humanity Party supports a strong, well-regulated security force that exists solely for the purpose of defending the rights of all people equally. Until military spending can realistically be replaced by basic human needs spending, a strong, well-regulated military is one of the greatest necessities that we have. If the governments of the world eliminated space exploration for one of many, many examples of very expensive government-backed programs that do not directly benefit the human race upon the earth at this time, and that show no reasonable benefit to the plight of the human beings who are hungry, sick, homeless, and uneducated, these same resources could be easily reallocated for something that benefits humankind now. If the United States of America were attacked, what budget wouldn't Congress approve to protect it? Regardless, the downfall of the U.S. economy is not going to come from another nation attacking it. The American way of life and its standards are being attacked from within by its ever-growing population of the tired, of the poor, the huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse, the homeless, the tempest-tossed, the very same people that the American Statue of Liberty invites into the United States. The United States Constitution already provides an amendment that establishes law that mandates that its states protect their citizens' life, liberty, and property. The 14th Amendment states, quote, in part, "Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law," unquote. If a person lives in the United States and cannot find work, or does not have food, or a home, or clothing, or health care, this person is being deprived of these things, which are necessary for a human to have life and liberty. If a state does not have laws in place that provide the citizens with what they need for life, is not that state depriving them of their constitutional rights? The Humanity Party supports the drafting of an international law that guarantees a human being the right to the basic necessities of life from the day of birth up to the day of death. Any violation of this law would be considered a crime against humanity and punishable as any other crime against humanity is punished. But where is all the money going to come from to provide every human with the basic necessities of life? We can do this by governments offering contracts, for example, to produce a type of housing that is safe and reliable, and if a company accepts the contract, it will be paid very well. By changing the motivational factors that influence corporate greed into providing the basic necessities of life to everyone free of charge, the rich would actually become richer by becoming more humane. This speaks to their human conscience. Let me explain how simple it could be. It is as simple as printing a credit card. Today, someone can apply for a credit card and receive it in a few days through the mail. What if we did this? What if we had a card, a human card, and with that card, a human being could use it to pay for their utilities, they could pay for their rent. It would also act as an insurance card that would pay for their health care. They could also pay for basic, healthy food and water. We print the cards and give one to any life form that can laugh, smile, and cry. In other words, if you're human, you get a card the moment you're born. You give them to everyone in the world. With the card and free will, a person can buy the things that the card allows them from any business that offers the goods and services that the card allows. A retailer is paid for the product by the government, just like they would receive payment for a normal credit card purchase. The governments of the world would print the money needed to pay the bill and strictly regulate inflation on the products that the human card can purchase. What will happen is that all the people in the world are going to go out and buy the food that tastes the best, But the card's restricted credit will limit their purchases to only healthy food. They're going to go out and find the best health care. They're not going to give their human card to a doctor who's not nice to them, or to a doctor who cannot see them when they want to be seen, or to a doctor who has a bad reputation. In this way, free market competition works. Companies will then advertise to sell their products and make their company more service-oriented. They will compete with each other to gain the business of the human card holders. Thus, the business owners will become wealthy and rich if they provide good products and services. Most people's dilemma with this plan is that they wonder who's going to pay for all this. Well, the same money that pays billions of dollars every day to wage warfare will pay for human welfare. Inflation will not be a problem because the products that are paid for by the government will be subject to an international inflationary law that will mandate that the inflation cannot increase across the board more than 1.5% per annum, for example. That means that no one can raise their prices more than 1.5% on the products and services that the human card can purchase. If a business wants to make more money, it will have to provide the products and services that people need, and more importantly, what they want, as long as the card is authorized to pay for those goods and services, thus increasing their profit according to the quality of the goods and services that they provide. But then people will say, that will make people not want to work. Most humans do not want to just exist in a safe house with electricity and good food to eat. Once they start eating good food, their minds automatically are going to start working better. And with less stress, they'll have the energy to go out and do something with their life and liberty. They'll want to watch a TV, for example, but the human credit card does not allow them to buy a television. It only allows them to buy the basic necessities of life. So then they'll be forced, by sheer necessity and personal motivation, to go out and get a job so that they can buy that television, so that they can buy themselves a car that will allow them to travel, or so that they can get a bigger and better house than what they're provided for by the human card. Healthy and happy people do not just sit around all day and do nothing. They want to expand their horizons and expand their experience, and once their basic necessities are taken care of, they're going to pursue what the world has to offer them. They're not going to just sit in their house lazily like some people think would happen. That is a very, very poor argument. The best thing about taking care of people's necessities is that businesses are going to improve working conditions across the board, because people are not going to be forced to work. Those who set up a business are going to be forced to compete for workers. They will have to treat workers well, pay them well, and treat them as valuable assets to their bottom line. We won't need labor unions. A free person will simply say, hey, I don't need this job. I've got food to eat and a place to live. I'm going to find a job where I will be treated better. People will work, of course. They will work more than they ever have before if they are provided with the basic necessities of life. Happiness would spread unlike any other time in our history. Even people today who are living on Social Security, who may have Section 8 housing or food stamps, and have all their needs taken care of, do not sit around and do nothing. For example of how our plan will work, go into any Walmart and show where there's a lack of food and products. But how did these products get there? People come and go day by day and take the stuff out of the stores. We already have the technology and the ability to transport products throughout the world in record time. We can put a Walmart in every corner of the earth, in every city, in Sudan, in the Congo, in Darfur, anywhere where there's poverty. We can give the people a human card that is good at these stores that allows them to purchase everything that they need to survive. How could there be any robberies at the store? How could there be any thieves who would say, I'm going to steal your card? They get one anyway. Every human being gets a card. And if you lose it, you get another card without any identification or red tape. Your identification is that you are a human being. Thieves would have no incentive to sell these stolen items to people because the people can already get them for free. So we think about all the problems that are happening throughout the world that are the cause of so much hopelessness and poverty. If somebody stood up and said, let's stop these ridiculous wars that are going on, turn in your guns and your flak jackets, and we're going to give you this card. With this card, you can go into any store and buy all the good, wholesome food that you want. This card will allow you to pay your rent, your utilities, for you and your family. This card will provide you with free medical care and great hospitals with great doctors. You simply go into a hospital of your choice, show them your card, be cared for, and the doctors in these hospitals will charge the government the money, and they will be paid. So the question remains, who's going to pay the human credit cards off? The World Bank. And where's the World Bank going to get the money to pay all this off? It is going to print it like it does every day in order to finance the economies of the world, which generally are all associated with some type of warfare. When the World Bank prints the money, the corporations out there that provide goods and services are going to want to get this new money. They're going to do everything within their power to get the people who have the new money to come into their stores with their human card. A doctor is going to become better at performing his or her services. A retailer is going to be better producer of good, wholesome food. And all these business owners are going to become as rich as the weapon manufacturers currently are. The people of the world who provide the goods and services that maintain the simple necessities of life, they are going to become the wealthiest people in the world. Instead, today, the most wealthy and powerful people in the world are those who deal in military arms. Ironic, isn't it? To the people who are out there spending 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week at least, plus overtime, making minimum wage, who cannot even cover their rent and their utilities and food, it's become a hopeless situation. They have no incentive to work. They think, why should I work? Why don't I sponge off my parents, and why not just go on government welfare? The greatest incentive for the human mind, the greatest motivator, is doing things that we want to do, not things that we are forced to do. We hate doing things that we are forced to do or need to do. We love doing things that we want to do. A person who is provided with the basic necessities of life is going to spend a lot more money in the economy and work harder for those things that he or she wants than one who lives hopelessly in despair and poverty. All you have to do is visit poor families and wealthy families. The kids who belong to wealthy families do not do anything for their basic necessities. They have all the food they need, their home is paid for, their medical care is paid for, but they are driven to have more things. They want to get out there and enter the workforce or go to college and do all the things that they want because all of their basic necessities are already taken care of. Then you go to a poor country. These people do not have any incentive to do these types of things. Why should they? Their life is so hard that they do not have an opportunity to do what they want because they are constantly doing everything that they are forced to do in order to survive. We will never change human nature. All we can hope to do is motivate human nature. Let the rich be rich and the greedy be greedy, but make their incentive and motivation become life-preserving instead of life-destroying. We are the Humanity Party. This plan will work. It is the only way.
Team of teenagers with attitudes.
Go, go, Power Rangers! Go, go, Power Rangers! Go, go, Power Rangers! Mighty Morphin Power Rangers!
Can you see it? The worst is over. The monsters in my head are scared of love. Falling people, listen up. It's never too late to change your luck. So don't let them steal your life. Don't let them break your stride. There is light on the other side, and you'll see all the raindrops falling through. It's a revolution, and we'll make it out tonight. It's a revolution.